Okay, so in the last chapter, or rather the previous chapter, we made our sim. Make sure you have load from disk on now. And we should be able to scrub through it and view it and all other good stuff. So now in this chapter, we're going to set up instancing, or more accurately, we're going to set up a system in which we can replace our pieces here, our simulation, and say, hey, we know that you're a point with an orientation. It essentially looks like this. It's a bunch of points moving around with orientations. There's no reason that we're really beholden to the pieces that we simmed with. So let's set up that system. Let's fly back up on here to, where are you? We want to find where we actually named our items here. There it is. So what we're going to do is save out each of these unique pieces. To remember that we had essentially, by the time we assembled it here, it was a 100 unique pieces, and they're being used all over the place. So they are what we need to save out, and they are what we can replace with other things. And there's a lot of reasons why we might do that. One is what I already said, which is we can replace them with other pieces. What would we replace them with? Well, we would probably replace them with high resolution things. So we can simulate with these low ones and swap them out later with high. So we have to find a way to cache all these pieces into separate files on the disk. That way we can load them in as packed disk primitives. And that's how we'll do our instancing. So here we are again with this class attribute. Remember that? Where we had a separate number for each individual piece here? Let's use that. Let's take a delete here, and or rather, let's to the delete to this thing and say, depending on the frame, just show me the class that is equal to that frame number. So we need to use an actual backtick here. And then delete non-selected. So these are backticks again. These are not apostrophes. So when f is, say, 8, it's going to keep the piece that has class 8. As we can see, that is so. All right. So we can essentially write these all out in sequence as if they were, that is our metaball from the other geometry node. Ignore that. As I was saying, we can write out each of these pieces in sequence almost as if it was, a sequence of files in an animation. So to that end, let's make a file cache. File cache goes here. And before we even go any farther, I want to add something to our control panel here. We have our sim version. Let's also make a, we'll say, instance version. And we'll call this one Iver. Like Bon Iver. Bon Iver? I don't know. So instance version is 0. I'm just going to copy that because we're going to use that in our name over here. So let's do another kind of thing here. We have job, and maybe we'll put it in an instances folder, and we'll say version, and this will be like we did before, paste relative references. And now the version will be whatever that number is, and inside of that we'll have the name. Now this will be a little different. What we need here is the actual name of the piece that we're saving. So I'm going to say, let's do a prim s, which means prim string. Get me a prim string attribute. What's that primitive string attribute? Well, it's the name. So I'm going to say, can I type? Let's say ... / delete 4, which is the one right before us here. So the isolated piece, get him. Take primitive 0, which doesn't matter, but we know there will be at least one primitive in the piece, so primitive 0 is a safe bet. And then grab the name. So that whole backtick thing will be replaced by the name. bgu.sc. And we don't want it to go from 1 to 120. We want it to go from 0 to however many pieces there are. The assemble is assembling all the pieces. So it knows how many pieces there are. So let's just ask him. I'll say, how many pieces are there? Assemble. So nprims, assemble, and -1, because 0 counts as one of them. So 0 to 99. Great. And that's it. So now we just need to say save the disk. Bop, done. Let's just confirm that it did it. Then we can open it up here, and there it is, job instances v0. It's showing it as if it was a frame range, but if we turn this off, we can see it's piece 0 to 99.bgo.sc. Awesome. So let's confirm, let's change, let's take something different about these pieces so that when we swap them in a second, we'll know that it actually worked. I'm going to put a color here. Let's just make it be red. And I'm going to up the instance version. And let's save that to file the disk. Once again, so now we have a V1. So now we have a V0 and a V1. And I'm also going to make this like easy to see. So we'll have to come back there later.